Welcome to Python Pro, a 30-day workshop by CTC. And we are in our day 2. Day 2, we'll be looking at variables, operators, and how you declare the variables, the built-in data types like integer, like strings, then float, then we have tuples, lists, set, dictionaries, booleans. We'll be having a brief overview on this, and then we'll be moving on to the operators on how you use these operators like the arithmetic operators, the comparison operators, logical operators, and the assignment operators. And finally, we'll be having a set of practice questions that we'll have hands on by implementing all of these concepts in it. So, shall we dive into the variables part? Yep. So, a variable nomenclature. Nomenclature refers to how you actually name the rules that you have that you have for naming a variable. So, a variable must start with a letter or an underscore, and it must not start with a number. It cannot have any other special characters other than underscore, and it can only contain alphabets and digits. So that is what it means by alphanumeric. You have alphabets and you have numerical and no other special characters. So moving on to case sensitivity, that says that if you by mistake mess up with the case, it is going to assume that it is a new variable and it won't refer to the same variable. So the A in age is in caps, or the G or E in, by mistake is in caps. You have to think it as a new variable also, just like the computer. A variable name cannot be of keywords. So if you're wondering what are keywords, keywords are nothing but special reserved words that cannot be used as identifiers in your code. Identifiers refers to variable names or the function names. In simple words, if you want me to say what are keywords, keywords are like a command word that that is in secret code with you, in between you and Python. Say you and Python share a common language, and the Python and the computer shares the same language. Say Python is like your translator, translating your commands to the computer and getting your work done. So you have special terms like some code words that says that I want to get this work done. Like I have a I have an and keyword. I have an if keyword that says that this statement should go like this, and taking the and, you have like two statements. You have to check if both the statements are true. You make it sure that this word does the big job. There is a job behind this word. That is what keywords mean in Python. So starting with operators, if you're thinking what are operators, operators are these mathematical symbols that we use like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulo, the greater than, lesser than symbol, and you have the equal to's, and you have exclamation that says the not. You have more such operators here. And operands refers to the value on which these operator work on. Say you have the numbers or the variables on which you perform these operations. So that's the basic opening for the operand here and the operator. So depending on the number of operands, operators can be classified into unary operator and binary operator. As the name suggests, you can see unary operator takes one operator and one operand, whereas binary operator takes one operator and two operands. So you have a unary plus and a unary minus. This basically says that unary plus is not used much because a plus value, I mean, a positive value can be denoted even without using the plus, whereas a negative value is not on that case. So we don't use unary plus much, but still, this is for your information, like FYI. And you move on to the logical not that we have. This also acts as a unary operator. We'll be looking on unary operator the logical not as a unary operator during the logical operators part. As for now, we have the unary plus in unary minus. Moving on to the hands-on part of implementing how this works. Say you have a number called 6. You can just give it as 6 and it prints 6. But what if I give it as plus 6? It still prints you 6. So that's the reason why we don't use much of unary operator. As plus as a unary operator, we don't use it as much. But minus as unary operator is used as a lot. Like because we have to denote negative numbers. Say I have minus 10. You have a equals minus 10. Say I give minus a. It prints minus 10. So this is unary operator because it takes only one operand. See, you have a, you have no other operand here. And similarly that goes with this 10 over here. It is just one operand. So that's a basic introduction to what is unary plus and unary minus as operators. We'll be moving on to binary operators. So as for binary operators, as we said earlier, like it takes one operator and two operands. So classifying the binary operators into what function they perform, they can be classified as arithmetic operator, the assignment operator, comparison operator, logical operators, identity operator, membership operators. We'll be looking on each. As for arithmetic operators that we saw yesterday, it comprises of addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulo, and floor division. So, how do you perform the basic arithmetic operator? You take two operands, you take two variables, or just you take two numbers, and then you add, you get the output. And similarly, that goes to all. Let us have a quick recap on our arithmetic operators. So as for arithmetic operators, we have plus. Say we go that a equal to b. A equal to 10. B equal to some 78. Wait, 7 something. And we have a plus b. A minus b. And then you have a into b. A by b. A by b. So floor division that I wanted to say is that it just ignores the whole decimal part. So in floor division, you will only get the integer that remains before the decimal, and the entities that come after decimal are completely ignored. So that is what it does floor division. And then moving on to getting a reminder, say a modulo b, the reminder is 10. So next comes the assignment operators. As the name suggests, it just assigns the the variable, the value to the variable. It just assigns it like the equal to that you have. So in assignment operators, you can have like plus equal to, and then you have an asterisk equal to, minus equal to, and then you have the division operator and the equal to, modulo equal to, and floor division equal to. If you're wondering what are all these, we'll be looking at them right away. So moving on to the hands-on session for the assignment operators. So moving on to the assignment operators, we have a equal to say some 10. You are assigning the value 10 to the variable a. So you just assign. You're basically saying that a is going to store 10. That is what assignment operators mean. But what is now a plus or equal to 10 mean? A plus equal to 10. What will it mean? A plus or equal to 10 will mean that simply A is equal to A plus 10. You're going to add one more 10 to A, and you are now going to store this data, the new modified data, into A again. So if I'm going to print A now, you have 20. You might have noticed that I have used a comment line here. Why did I make it as a comment line? If I'm going to repeat the same without the comment line, the data is going to change again. So now if I print A, this step gets repeated and your data is modified. So I just wanted to modify this as for the explanatory part. And now that you have, I hope you understand. And moving to the what actually happens, you store num1, you store 16 num1. Say for an example, you are saying num1 equals 16, and now you give the same num1 plus equal to 5. What it does is it just adds 5 and stores it again in the num1. So you modify data, put it back again into the same variable box. Done. The same goes with the other operators. A minus or equal to some 15. Let me give 15. So this means that A equal to A minus 15. And you can use multiplication also. A asterisk equal to, say, some big number, 34. And now you give A, you have, see, this also means that A is equal to A into 34. So how do we do this? The other operators like modulo, division, floor division, it also follows the similar fashion where you give this, you print A. Now you can guess what this means. You can give the expanded form here. A is equal to A by 2. And A modulo 2 also follows the same. And now we have the floor division. How does floor division go? A modulo equal to, and you have some 5. Here you might think that, hey, you said it is a binary operator, but I don't see, there is more than two operators. Like, you have given the floor division as well as equal to, and then you have two operands also. How do you say that this falls under a binary operator? Yep, this is still considered as a binary operator. This whole entity is considered as one rather than splitting it into two. It this this signifies the same statement. You just simplify this into this. So the whole plus equal to, the minus equal to, the asterisk equal to, the modulo equal to, all of them are considered as one operator and not as two different entities. So these are also binary operators. It is divisible by 2, so it's divisible by 5, so you have a 0. Moving on with the other operators types. Moving on to the comparison operators, we have less than, we have greater than, we have lesser than or equal to, then greater than or equal to, and you have not equal to and equal to equal to. If you're wondering what is this double equal to, it just says that you're comparing both the values. Say if both the values are same or not. Say 1 is equal to 1. Are you saying both the values are same? If you if you're checking if both the values are same, you'll be using two equal to's. While assigning, you'll just use one equal to. Say you have num1 is equal to 20, then if you're checking with num1 and num2, you'll be using double equal to here. So a quick implementation of this. Moving on to the comparison operators, we have the the less than symbol, the greater than symbol, the less than or equal to, the greater than or equal to, and you have the not equal to part, and you have equal to equal to. All of these operators are going to return you a Boolean value. Boolean refers to true or false. So, what does true state mean? Yes, your answer was yes, the statement is fulfilled, or no. So, boiling this down to the machine language, true is going to be 0 and false is going to be 1. So, what happens basically when you go through any of these comparison operators? You have num1 equal to 20 and num2 equal to 45. You compare it and you get an answer as false because the statement fails. Number 1 is not greater than number 2. And similarly, it goes to the other cases also. See, the less than symbol also takes the same. But when the equal to comes in, there's the difference. When I ask a number is A say, let us declare A as 50, and let us ask A is greater than 50, it is going to give us false. As A less than 50, false. Because A can only be equal to 50 and it cannot be less than or greater than. So this statement will only give you false. While you are giving A greater than or equal to 50 or A less than or equal to 50, this statement is going to return you true because you have an equal to, saying that is it greater or equal to. Same here, less or equal to. So if any of this one condition is fulfilled, it is going to return true. And same with equal to and not equal to. You are checking if the entities are same. Say you have A equal to 50 and B equal to some 70. You, if you're going to say A is not equal to B, over this situation it is true. If A and B are same, say A is no longer, say B is no longer 70, you can take 50. So A and B are same now. If now you check A not equal to B, you're going to get A not equal to B, you're going to get false. Because the statement is true. You're checking if A and B are different. That is what basically A not equal to B is. Like you check if both the operands are different. And here you check if both are same. So shall we move on to our coding part? Yeah. Now that we have come across both the arithmetic operators and the comparison operators, we will be able to solve few problems based on these operators. Say the arithmetic operators, you have plus, minus, star, division, the modulo, and then you have the floor division. And here you have the greater than, less than, greater than equal to, less than equal to, not equal to, and equal to equal. So you have all these operators here. So let us try solving some question. Here in the whiteboard we'll be just getting the logics. We will just make sure we are able to apply what we studied right now, and then we'll later implement it to the code also. So to check if a number is divisible by 2, usually how do we do it? We make sure that the remainder we get is 0. If a number is divisible by another number if the remainder is 0. So we apply the same logic here. Over here, from the arithmetic operators, we have the modulo that gives us the remainder. So we are going to take if divisible by 2. How do we check that if the remainder here is equal to 0? We are going to get the equal to operator from the comparison and compare it to 0. Done. something is missing over here. What is missing? We have not decided upon our variable, or the thing we are going to divide by 2 is still not decided. So let us put assign a variable. We know how to name a variable also, so let it be num mod 2 equal to 0. If this condition is true, if you're going to get true as result, then you know this number is divisible by 2. Else, if you get false, the number is not divisible by 2. So for this, what are we going to learn new here? We are going to make sure that we get an input from the user, and not we are not going to assign it anymore. Let us have some fun. So the input function helps you to get input from user. So you are going to be like num is equal to input of, and then you have your all words going in like enter, etc. And you will have those words printed here. And now when you enter say 75, this is my number. Now you check. Now num mod 2. Sorry, I missed num. Num mod 2 is equal to 0. Certainly know it's going to be false. So done. So first question is done. The second one, age is greater than 18. With the same input, we'll get the age from the user, and then we will use the greater than 18. I've just mentioned greater than, so there is no equal to. We'll just use the age variable greater than 18 for this question. And then check if the speed of vehicle is less than 60 kilometers. Is going to be like speed less than 60. The variable declared here is age, speed, etc. And how you validate if the user is above 21, same logic, you just make this as 21 rather than 18. So I hope now you are able to formulate the logic, like how you actually imply, how you build the logic of the code. So now we'll just have a quick uh, code done for the same. So what we have here is check if the number is divisible by 2. Let us try. So I say number equal to int of input of I have entered a number. So while this why have I used int here, you will be seeing it soon. So now when I enter a number, say 13, and now I'm giving my logic that I want to check if the number is divisible by 2. So is the number divisible by 2? We will write a logic num mod 2 equal to 0. False. 13 is not divisible by 2, and we get our answer. If I'm not mentioning this int here, let us see how it goes. If the int is not here, if I enter a number, another number, say 16 this time, and I'm going to say num mod 2 equal to 0. The problem is the input that we have given is in the format of string. Python assumes that we have entered our input as a string rather than an integer. So to inform Python that the input that I am going to get from the user is going to be an integer, I specify the int function. I specify it with the int function. Int helps in converting uh, your variable into a, say if I give a equal to 5, and now I'll be like int of a. It helps you in converting the variable to an integer. So that's it. Now we are done with the first one. Let us check if the age is greater than 18. So for that, I'm going to repeat the same. But this time I'm going to make the variable as age. I'm going to be like int of input of and then enter your age. Don't miss the quotes or the braces, you will encounter error again. So now if my age I say is 16, now I say is my age greater than 18? False. Same goes with speed. We can get the speed from the user also. Int of input of enter the speed. Say I have 70. Speed is we are just checking speed greater than 60. True. And the last question, I guess you guys can try it all. You have to check if the user is above the age 21. So let us now try implementing all those 5 questions here. The first question being age. Say I've given age. Age is equal to int of input of, and you give your braces here, then enter, those are quotes, enter the age, I say, and then close. Enter the age, I'm giving 20. Now if I want to check the age is greater than 20, we're going to be like age greater than 80. True. Now let's move to the divisibility of 2. Say now if you're wondering why I gave int here, let us see how it works without int. So now when I'm removing int, it still gives me the answer. So I'm going to say give another number. And then if I check, I'm getting an error stating that this operator handles only integer type, and then the given type here in the input or the variable that contains the data that is contained in the variable is actually a string and not an integer. Python basically assumes that the input that user has passed is a string rather than an integer, because you just got it through the input function and it assumes it. So while getting the integer input, we put int, and if you want it particularly to be a string, you put the str. If you want float, you can add it as float, and that's how it goes. We'll see how we get inputs for list, tuples, dictionary also. Moving on, we have checked the age. We have validated the age question. Next, moving on to the number. If a number is divisible by 2, so int of same input of, and you go like enter the number. Enter any number. I'm giving 23. Now when I have to check, we're going to put our logic here. Our logic was num mod 2 equal to 0. So 23 is not divisible by 2 and our answer is false. So these statements might look simple and you might think how is this going to be much of use. With these conditional operators, like if you're very very if you get it better, like if you get well with it, this is going to be much of a part in the conditional statements. Conditional statements are nothing but the if else and if else if part. So as far as the names also suggest, there are going to be like, if the answer is going to be true, you have one segment of code. If the answer is going to be false, you have one segment of code. So it depends on how you write the conditional operator over there. How do you write the statement over there on checking? Moving on to speed. say we have speed equal to int of input of, and you get is like enter the speed. So I'm traveling in 80, and now I want to check if the speed is crossing the limit. Speed greater than 60. True. And the last question of being age greater than 21, I guess you guys can do that sum. So give it a try also. Your other tasks, like simple tasks that comes on with the program, will also be based on all of these operators here. So in case of not operator, it is very simple. If the result inside is giving you true, you put a not in front of it, it is going to be false. And if the result inside is going to be false and you put a not outside, the result is going to be true. It just reverses the result, returns false if the result is true, and the vice versa. And the identity operators are is and is not. This is when you check if a specific this is when you check if a variable is referring to the same memory. Say over here, I have given a is of this is a list that I've declared. Like the list consists of math, physics, chemistry, and computer science. This is like a list containing the subjects, and I'm assigning the same a to b. And I have another variable called c that comprises of the same list. But if I'm checking, like now what I'm doing is I'm just seeing if B and A are the same entity. As in, are they referring to the same memory space? So B is A. If I'm giving B is A, you're asking the computer, is B and A are of the same memory place? It is going to give you the answer as true. Whereas if you're going to ask, is C and A like the same thing? So how do we write that here? C is A. You're asking C is A. It is going to give you false because despite both the variables containing the same data, they are getting stored at different places. So that is about is and is not. Is not is going to, as you saw earlier how not works. So this condition is going to be reversed again. The whenever a not comes, your answer is going to be reversed. And membership operators. Membership operators is when you see if an element is inside something, say it's a string or a list. You're checking if the element belongs to the string or if the element belongs to a list. See, here I've created the same list, the maths, physics, chemistry, computer science, and I've given D as a string containing chem. Now I want to check if this particular value is in the list. So for which I'm going to be like D in A. Like I'm asking, is D in A? Like how we talk. Just like that. So D in A is going to be true because this element over here is present in the list. And same goes with the string. So B here is a string that I've given like today in day 2 Python Pro we are visiting operators. And I've given a string called a short string called C Python. Never mind, I messed it up as the capital and all. I just wanted to make you understand that how the capital and small, how the case sensitivity matters in Python. So this is where I forgot to give it as D. And moving on to the C and D part, we have a Python with P small and we have a Python with P caps. So we are checking which one of this is in the whole string. So, but here I have given the capital P. So while checking C in B, it is going to return me false because the P over here is small while the P over here is caps. And D returns true. I can also check if there are any spaces. So like the empty space between two quotes resembles the space between words also. So I'm checking if there are spaces between words and it returns true. And similarly, if I want to say any character that is there in the whole string, you can also do this in a similar way. And how we had an not is not and the logical not operator, we have the same here in membership operator also. Not in, we are checking if the character is not in a particular string or a list. So as you know, if the result is going to be true, when you add a not, it is going to change it into false. And if the answer is going to be false and you have a not before it, it is going to be true. So what I have done here is I've checked is the character not in B. Is the character not in B? True. So it is returning true. While now I'm checking is the character in B and it is going to give me false because tomorrow is not in the whole uh, string, so it is returning me false. Since I added a not over here, the false turned into true. So moving on to the let's just have some implementation on the logical and membership and identity operators. Now that we have come this far in completing all the operators, let us let us start with say how you find a leap year. Yet another, you know, a famous question that we all encounter: how to find a leap year. A leap year is when it is divisible by either 4 or divisible both by 400 and 100, or it is going to be divisible by 4 and just it is not divisible by 100. So let us have the conditions here. I'll just mention the conditions here. It should be divisible by, here should be divisible by. So I'm going to write the code, not the whole code, just the logic here. So divisible by 400 and divisible by 100. Divisible by 100. And then you have an or option here. We have an or divisible by 4 and divisible not divisible by 100. So how do I put not divisible by 100? Divisible by 100 and I give a not equal to 0. So implementing all these part here, how do we check if a number is divisible by any other? So we put that equal to 0 part. So say here is equal to 1000, and I am going to put here mod 400. Here mod 400 should be equal to 0, and I have a condition that here supposed to be divisible by 100 also. So here is divisible by 100. Either this, either the situation is this, or here is divisible by 4. I missed the divisible by 4 part here, so equal to 0. And here is divisible, not divisible by 100. So when it is not divisible by 100, I'm going to give it here mod 100 and not equal to 0. So just make sure you don't miss these parentheses so that it gives you a clear, it gives a clear instruction to the Python. Like it just helps compiler to understand. So how did I get to here? Let us start solving the whole whole big line of code, please don't feel like this is a very long code. It is simplified into two statements, which can further be simplified into four. We have just come across all of these operators in our session today. Looking at the operators, first we have, let us break down with this or here. I have made this or because a leap year should either satisfy this condition or it should satisfy this condition. So so when you have like two options, you put or, like when you want either only one to be true and you are not bothered about the other condition, it may be true or may be false. You are just checking if any one is true. So now you're moving on to the first part where year is divisible by 400. You're going to check if 2000 is divisible by 400. 2000 is 2000. Let us see if this code gives us a true or false. Say year mod 400 is true. Year mod 400 is true because 2000 mod 4, it is divisible by 400. And then let us see if year is also divisible by 100. Say year mod 100 is also true. So it is nice that you got both as true. And let us see what operator we have over here. We have it and. So while using and operator, remember the table that we had, the true gives true. That that whole that whole table is implemented over here because you have a true and operator and then you have a true, which is going to give you the answer as true. See, let us see how this fragment gives us the answer. So moving on further. Yep. As we said, we are getting it true. Now let us see if what if this condition fails and it moves to this part. What if 2000 goes in enters this part, because we have an or operator, so it doesn't matter whatever output this is going to give. Anyways, the answer is going to be true because the first fragment here returned true. Say let us try decoding this part first. So your mod 4 equal to 0. Let us see if your mod 4 is equal to 0. Your, yep, 2000 is divisible by 4. So this segment over here returned us true. And the operator we have is and, so it is better that we check up the later part also. Checking up the later part, we have your mod 100 not equal to 0. From this segment, we have understood that we got an answer of true. So when you have a not operator, your results are gonna be reversed. Say, yeah, I messed up with the indentation. Like as we saw in the first session, indentation is very important. So please don't mess up with the indentation. So we got false here because of the not operator. So one of your statement here is true and one of your statement over here is false. While you use or operator, if any of this statement is true, the result is going to be true, and hence this whole statement returned as true. So fine, give me some other year that, say this is very easy to look up, say some 2028 or 2049 something. I'm sorry, I didn't type year equal to 2049. And then if I'm going to give the same statement, it still works here. So this is the one big question that we solved today. Hope you understood it. If you have any doubts, like put up a question or put up a text on the group. We'll be able to help you as soon as possible. And further, we'll be moving on to the data types. No, we have missed certain things. Starting with the data types, mutable and immutable data types. Mutable data types are those that allow you to change the value after they are created. when you modify mutable objects, you're modifying the same object in memory. Like, say, if you have consider the variables as boxes, mutable data types are like reusable boxes. You can fill it out again. But immutable data types are like use and throw. You can just use it once and then you cannot use it again for the same, or you cannot change the components that is inside the box. Some common mutable data types are like list, dictionary, and set. We'll be moving on to list, what are integer, and what are float right away. But then I'm just giving you what is a mutable data type and what is not mutable data type. Say what is immutable data type. So a clear uh, a clear definition is going to be mutable data types is when you modify the object in its memory, like in the same memory, like you don't change it anywhere. Whereas immutable data type is going to be you cannot change once they are created. You cannot modify the values of immutable objects. You're only creating a new object. There is no more using the same object. You cannot change the values in it either. So immutable data types are like integer, float, string, tuple, and frozen set. There is a difference between set and frozen set here. We'll be seeing it later. So going to what is an integer. Integer is a data type that stores integer value comprising of both positive and negative values, say 1 or -4. I hope you understand. It is basic math, integer into computer science. And over here, float is the decimal data that you want to store. Say you have some 0.45 or -1.4, like that. Any of the decimal digits are stored in float. String is going to be all your sequence of characters. Say the story that we gave in prior example is a string and it is denoted by str. And boolean that we saw while solving the leap year sum is yet another data type that returns true and false. There are only two entities in boolean, which is one is true and one is false. So one is 0 and one is 1. And then we have list. Lists are like ordered mutable sequence of elements. List can comprise of both you can give a list can have also like some strings as well as the digits inside, but each of the element is going to be a single list element, and it is in of a sequence, whereas tuple is ordered immutable sequence. While we saw mutable sequence, which says that this list can be modified in any time later, but the tuple that we have mentioned here cannot be changed. And ordered here refers to how you can call each element. Say 1 will be situated in a place called 0, and 2 will be in place of 1, and 3 will be in place of 2, and the list goes on. Like it is like sequencing, numbering the elements in a list. We'll be seeing it on the next session, where we have a very brief detailed session on what is list, what are the operations on list, what is tuple, what is set, and their operations. Everything goes on there. So now that you have understand between ordered and unordered, unlike list and tuple, you cannot call or assign any space to the set elements. There is no numbering like 1, 2, 3. No, but it is also a mutable collection. Mutable collection, as we saw, mutable as in you can change this. What you have to give a bit of importance here is that set consists of only unique elements. Set here represents the same that we study in math, like the union, the intersection. Same goes here. The Cartesian product. We can apply all of the operations here as well, and hence the set will be consisting of unique elements. Frozen set is an unordered, immutable version of set. While set is mutable, when you declare it as a frozen set, you cannot change the elements later. And here we come to the dictionary. It is an unordered, mutable, key value pair mappings. Key value dictionary is like your literal dictionary that we hold for, say, we search some words in it. Like while we search for the words, the word becomes the key here, and the value becomes the definition of the word. So the word is fixed, but the definitions can change. And similarly, key over here is key over here is unique and it cannot be changed. It is immutable, whereas values over here are mutable. Only values can be changed. Say if I want to change the name over here, immutable, whereas values over here are mutable. Only values can be changed. Say if I want to change the name over here from Alice to some say Bob, I can change with the reference to name, but I cannot change this entity called name as such. So your task today is comprising of three elements. One, to get the age from user and check if it is divisible by 5. Second one is going to be consider scenario of an amusement park where children above 3 feet are only allowed for roller coaster. Get the height of child and check if he or she can enjoy the particular ride. And then third one is going to be check if the element new is present in the list and if it is present in the string. So all these three questions will require you to solve using only the operators that we studied today. So I hope you get it cleared. If you have any doubts, ping us on WhatsApp. See you tomorrow.